The 2025 Michigan football season is just days away. Well, spring practice, that is. Michigan gets started on Tuesday, and I've just been pondering, what sort of things do we need to find out? What questions will we have on this team this spring, through the summer, into fall practice, and things that we're just going to find out, frankly, on the field in August, in September, and through the rest of the year, maybe into mid to late January. We will see. The Michigan Football Report wants to know from you guys, before we get started with these burning questions, predict Michigan's 2025 regular season record. Just focus on the 12 games on the schedule. Don't speculate from there. Give me a record prediction down in the comments. I'm going to give you mine in just one moment. Let's go. So this team's got 3 really tough road games in the first half of the season. You go at Oklahoma, at Nebraska a couple weeks later, at USC a couple weeks later after that. I'm going 10-2, which is a little bit of a, pullback from my optimism of the past few years. But if you remember, I think I predicted 7-5 back in 2021. And that ended up being an 11-1 regular season. So I think coming off a disappointing 2020, then they get, boom, big-time year in 2021. Disappointing 2024, all things considered. Beat Ohio State again. Beat Alabama, that's fine. Boom, we're going to get maybe a little come up. It's 10-2, my prediction. Maybe 11-1, but I still have Michigan beating Ohio State again. Bosa. So let me know what your record prediction is down in the comments. Number 1, burning question. I don't know if we're going to find out this spring. We might find out as early as Tuesday. You never know. But I think Michigan can go light shoulder pads and helmets only on Tuesday. First 2 practices. Who is going to be the starting quarterback of this team? Will it be Davis Warren again? Will it be Jaden Davis, the guy with a little hitch in his throat? Will it be Mike Keene? Will it be Bryce Underwood? I just think it's a question that is going to shape the future of this program. If Bryce Underwood doesn't live up to the billing, what does this Michigan football team look like? Even in 2025, obviously 2026, 2027, there's not a next man up, right? Brady Hart, the 2026, high-level 4-star. He flipped from Michigan after Bryce Underwood committed, and there's not really anybody in the pipeline. Now, there can be guys in the pipeline. Michigan can take some of this NIL money from Jolin and Larry Ellison and others, the big ballers like me, Jack, of course, and put it towards a quarterback next year if they don't think Bryce Underwood's the guy. Clearly, Jaden Davis didn't shake out to be the guy as a true freshman in 2024. Didn't get, I think, one snap the entire season, which I think Michigan actually scored a touchdown with Tavier Dunlap in that Northwestern game. But all things being equal, if Bryce Underwood does not live up to the billing and we don't see, wow, this guy is either ready to go from day one or ready to go by game 4, 5, 6, 7 this year, then I think we're a little murky. Mikey Keene is a nice quarterback, but he is not the kind of guy, I think at least, that Michigan can ride to a Big Ten championship and a 4th playoff appearance in the past 5 years. So we'll see what happens, but Michigan definitely has to make a call on that quarterback position sooner than later. I think if Bryce Underwood is not the guy from day one, he's got to have a path to being the guy sometime during this season. Who is on Twitter? People call it X these days, Jack. I'm giving it X to X. Not a big fan of the name X. I'm still a Twitter guy. I still tweet. I don't post. I tweet. Who's on Twitter? I am at James Yoder. Follow me. Money back guaranteed. Very few places in the world you can get that money back guaranteed if you follow me on Twitter and you don't like what you see. Let me know this question. 6.5 starts. I'm putting the number at 6.5 starts. Last time we put this question out there, Jack, about 2 months ago, I think during recruiting, the signing day maybe, I had 4.5 starts. We're up in the ante, 6.5 starts. Let me know if Bryce Underwood will go over that or under that. And you can include playoff games if you want in that. Just end of the year, how many starts, over or under 6.5. How about number 2 on my list? This is the big one, guys. Why did Michigan beat Ohio State? Why did they beat Ohio State again? Why did they beat Alabama at the end of the year, right? Why was this defense still willing to be able to hold up without Will Johnson and other injuries throughout the secondary? Is because of the play of the best 2-man interior defensive line combo in the history of this program, Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham. They're going to both be first-round draft picks, and this is the staff, this is the crew, my pre-spring practice depth chart on the defensive line. Derek Moore, Rayshon, Trap Money Benny back for his 5th year. Derek Moore, 4th year. TJ Guy, 5th year. Trey Williams, coming over from Clemson, a few starts last year. 6-year guy, right? Big recruit, top 100 guy, but really never panned out. But I'm putting him there until proven wrong. Obviously, David Payne coming up from Alabama was, I think, a former 5-star, but Michigan's got some big boys, right? Ike Iwona, Trey Pierce, others in the middle. But to replace 2 first-rounders at defensive tackle, I might have to look this up. I bet it's only happened maybe 5 times in the history of the NFL draft where one team has had 2 true interior defensive linemen taken in the first round in the same NFL draft. Now, if you don't have that push, are you going to be able to play that same 4-2-5 zone defense that Michigan's played the last 4 seasons that has completely baffled the Ohio State football program? They can drop 50 points against anybody. They can drop 40 in college football playoff games. They can drop 36 or whatever it was in the first half against Oregon. They couldn't get past 10 points this past year, a team that ultimately won the national championship, mostly because of the interior push of Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham. I've got more burning questions coming up, but I did want to tell you about the sponsor of the Michigan Football Report. You guys are going to love these guys. It is Factor. They are back sponsoring the show. Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Well, Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. You can feel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared. Perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose some preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. Eat smart with Factor. I love it. Jack loves it. Everybody at Chat Sports is loving Factor. I always get it whenever my wife's out of town for sure. Get started at factormeals.com/MichiganChat50 off and use code MichiganChat50 off to get you 50% off your first box with Factor plus free shipping. That's code MichiganChat50 off at factormeals.com/MichiganChat50 off. If you forget that, one is the easy way to click it. It's down in the description and the comments. Second paragraph of the description. Click the link, copy the code MichiganChat50 off, 50% off your first box plus free shipping. Let's keep it rolling here with Michigan Football Report. Burning questions before we hit spring practice that we need to know about, that this team is going to have to answer before they, embark on a 2025 season, or maybe even during the 2025 season. We will see. Can this team pass the ball? And I think there's 2 sides of the coin. There's 2 ways to skin a cat here. Is it, can they pass the ball because they have a quarterback who can throw, which was not really the case for most of last year, right? There's a few nice throws here and there. Davis Warren, glimpses, but not really. Certainly Alex Orji could. Can they catch the ball? And that really was a bigger problem maybe than quarterback last year. I think it was the worst wide receiving core that we have seen potentially in the history of this program, at least in the modern day of this program. And these are the players the 3 have got slotted to be the starters. Donovan McCulley coming over from Indiana, Fred Moore, and then Samaj, James spelled backward. There was no Samajes on this roster before I started doing the show, Jack. All of a sudden, Michigan's got 2 Samajes in the last 3 or 4 years. Wonder if that's a coincidence or not. There's some other players in the secondary, in this team, some freshmen, some guys coming in, transfer that we might see some action from. But this wide receiving group has not produced in the field, right? The fact that you bring over a guy from Indiana that really didn't even play, quit the team after a few games last year, that had 600 and some yards in 2023, and he's got more career receiving yards than anybody Michigan has coming back from just that one season, I think is pretty sad. Tyler Morris decided to seek, his pastures elsewhere, go find greener pastures, and you've got guys like Samaj and Frederick Moore and Peyton O'Leary with a combined, what's quick math, that 48 catches combined, coming back from those 3 guys who none of them really considered, outside of Samaj, could have been considered starters really at any point of last year. So can this team pass the ball? I hope so, right? And I think we're going to have a pretty good understanding after we get through maybe 6, 7, 8 practices of spring practice, and we'll see when this team hits the ground running with Mikey Keene probably on one side, Bryce Underwood on another side. The Maize versus Blue game in the 2025 spring game coming up on April 18th, 1 month after practice gets started on Tuesday, which is of course March 18th. Number 4, is Sherrone Moore an elite coach? Now, he certainly has proven to be elite against Ohio State, 2-0 as a head coach acting, and then his full-time got the win against Alabama. But there were some pull your hair out of your scalp moments that we'll talk about here in a second. But I just want to ask you guys, we have to ask you guys things from time to time. One ask I have of this show is subscribe if you haven't. As we rocketed past 34,000 subscribers, now we're getting close to 3,500, kind of in the middle ground, 34,500. We need 79 more subscriptions. It's free. Money back guarantee on that too. So hit that subscribe button if you're a Michigan football fan, want to put the good vibes out there for the 2025 season, and want to see more content as we get into spring practice coming up on Tuesday. Sherrone Moore, elite or not? You see in this in college football, typically guys have their best years, sometimes their best years ever, in years 2 and 3, when they can come in, right, shock and awe, we're changing this, we're changing that. Now, it's not like a truly like coming in from the outside, like let's say like an Urban Meyer going to Ohio State or something like that, or Kirby Smart coming in from Georgia, but, Jim Harbaugh's not there. There's not really any, ton of coaches that were left over from that staff that he's got to worry about. And now kind of we're recycling most of the players, most of the impact players, really from 2 years ago when he was an assistant, are now gone, with the Mason Grahams and Will Johnsons and Colston Lovelands moving on to the NFL. So will he have that big 2-year bump? And just off the top of my head here, let's just kind of think about, college football, things that you and I should know. Jim Harbaugh, year 1, 10-3. Year 2, they ended up being 10-3. But remember, they were 8-0, 9-0, undefeated, number 2 in the country when they lost the game to Iowa. And then Ohio State game, they were 10-1, number 3 in the country. So Jim Harbaugh had them right there. A JT Short, bad call from the ref, from going to the college football playoff in year 2. Lloyd Carr, year 1, year 2, very similar situation to Sherrone, by the way, right? Took over from another coach. Year 3, boom, national champion. So not necessarily year 2, but year 3. Then think about other schools, right? Urban Meyer, year 3, national championship, right? 2014. Ryan Day, I still think he made the national title. Yeah, he made the national title game in year 2 as well. Came in, obviously, with a much more stacked roster than most coaches do. Kirby Smart, I think it was year 3 for him. So year 2, year 3, we're going to find out really soon if we are sitting at another 5 or worse loss season. The boo birds are going to come out in full force, and fans are going to be saying Sherrone Moore is not the right guy. He's on the hot seat. I think anything more than 3 regular season losses, and right there, 14th or 15th ranked, a couple teams out from the playoff. Anything worse than that, and there might be melee in Ann Arbor. How about Grant Newsome? Can he coach at all? I think Grant Newsome is probably a really nice guy. I think he may have a future as a football coach. But I also, on the flip side of that, think because he's a nice guy and because there's some unfortunate things that happened to him from the injury side of things, that he has maybe got a free pass from his bosses, from his superiors, from the fan base. We'll talk more about Grant Newsome, but I want to get the vibe from you guys. How would you grade Grant Newsome in his first year as Michigan's offensive line coach in 2024? A, B, C, D, or F? Had to replace 4 starters. Okay, some challenges there, and they did get better by the end of the year, but not great. I'm going to go with a C. A C, right at the middle of the road. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. A, B, C, D, or F. Pluses and minuses are accepted and encouraged. So he could be on the hot seat if you don't have an offensive line that is playing, maybe not to the Joe Moore winning level of 21 and 22 with a national championship level of 2023, but it has to be better than Evan Stinklink, the worst graded offensive lineman through 8 games in the history of college football, according to Pro Football Focus there at the right tackle position. I think he is short for the job. I think he'll get replaced at some point, but maybe Link don't stink, right? We said Wink, Stink Fartendale, people were calling him, not us, Jack, but people were, and he turned it around. Can Stinky Linky, Evan Link, can he turn it around at offensive line? He's got to get better coaching, right? So going back to Grant Newsome. Career-ending injury in 2016, promising, was starting as a redshirt freshman and never was able to recover from that. Got a job with the staff from Michigan, right? Nice, shake your hand, yes ma'am, no sir kind of guy. Jim Harbaugh liked that. Jim Harbaugh said he's got a future in politics. He could be the president one day if he wanted to. All well and good. Then got a job as a tight ends coach. And okay, Michigan had some decent tight ends. Colston Loveland developed there, right? You had, Luke Schoonmaker get drafted, I believe, under his guidance. But as an offensive line coach, He has no experience outside the Michigan football program. He's kind of rode Sherrone Moore's coattails, right, from tight ends to offensive line and beyond. Decent job recruiting, it seems so, but I don't think that he should get a free pass from fans anymore just because he played at Michigan, had a horrific injury, kind of lost out, and he's a Sherrone Moore guy. Now is the time. Michigan also brought in Juan Castillo, the offensive line coach from UCLA, has been around the Michigan program, was here back in 2019 for a year, has been all over the NFL, all over college football, and that's kind of a big brother. They're doing the same thing at the wide receiver position, right? Ron Bellamy really struggled last year. You bring in Eric Soup Campbell, Michigan's longtime wide receiver coach in the Lloyd Carr era. I think it hopefully should help. But again, this is a position we talked about in a recent video, offensive line, defensive line. I don't think they're going to be as good of, performance this year as we have seen in the past. Offensive line, though, definitely razor thin margins on what kind of mistakes they can make and still have a good season. There's no Blake Corum, there's no Kalel Mullings here to save this team if they can't get that blocking going, and we will see how it shakes out. Those are 5 burning questions that I wanted to know and think about as we get into spring practice this summer and into 2025 season. Follow me on Twitter at James Yoder, money back guarantee. We will see you guys in our next video. Go Blue.